Hello. Today we're going to learn another thing that could be helpful in life. U.S. Capitol Research. Let's take a look at the list. Oh. Okay then. That's a lot of stuff. So there's only one thing we can do.
Fast round time! Yay!
Are we recording now? Okay. There are several educational institutions and research centers dedicated to preserving the experiments of people who were victimized by the Nazis and their collaborators during the Holocaust. Among the victims were Jews, homosexuals, Christians who helped to hide Jews, and people with physical and mental disabilities. Notable examples of Holocaust museums include Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, Memorial de la Shoah in Paris, and the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. Next one. The National Museum of African American History and Culture is a place where people can learn about the richness and diversity of the African American experience. Hallelujah! What it means to their lives and how it helped to shape the nation. Okay, next one. The National Museum of American Art is the only national museum in the United States dedicated to the collection, exhibition, conservation, and study of the arts of Africa, meaning races. On the exhibit are the finest examples of traditional and contemporary art from the entire continent of Africa. Next one. This museum is about the history of flight and surrounding yourself with icons of air and space travel. Space travel. A flagship building on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. contains 23 galleries. 23 flopping galleries, guys, exhibiting hundreds of aircraft, spacecraft, missiles, rockets, and other flight-related artifacts. A jackpot for terrorism. Anyway, the museum has a planetarium and an IMAX theater for out-of-this-world experience. And next one. A nation's first collection of American art offers an unparalleled record of the American experience, capturing the aspirations, character, and imagination of the American people throughout 3 centuries. The museum is home to one of the largest and most inclusive collections of American art in the world, including works by such stylistically diverse luminaries as John Singleton Copley, Winslow Homer, and Georgia O'Keeffe. Housed in one of the oldest public buildings constructed in early Washington. Okay, next one. This museum is about the scientific, cultural, social, technological, and political development of the United States. The museum traces the American experience from colonial times to the present. The American History Museum's collection contains about more than 3 billion historical objects, including the famed Star-Spangled Banner and the documents that explore the evolution of the American identity. Okay, next one. Okay, the National Museum of the American Indian. Okay now, okay, I see how it is. Okay, American Indian cares for one of the world's most expansive collections of native objects, photographs, and media, covering the entire Western Hemisphere from the Arctic Circle to the Tierra del Fuego. The museum's sweeping colonial architecture, its indigenous landscaping, and its exhibitions, all designed in a collaboration with tribes and communities, combined to give visitors from around the world a sense and spirit of Native Americans. Located in the Anacostia neighborhood, this museum examines, documents, and interprets the impact of historical, and contemporary social issues on urban communities. Look at the flowers. Look at the pretty flowers. Okay, next one. The Arts and Industries Building. The Art and Industries Building has a special role among Smithsonian buildings as the first United States National Museum, opened in 1881. After being closed for nearly 12 years, the Arts and Industries Building reopened for special events fall of 2015 and has hosted several activities including the Asia-Pacific American Center's Cross Slides, Culture Lab, and the Long Conversation. Plans are still in development for this building. Okay. The Smithsonian Institution has 2 museums of Asian art, the Freer Gallery of Art and the Arthur M. Sackler Gallery. Today we're going to talk about the Freer Gallery of Art, okay? Okay. The Freer Gallery houses one of the primary collections of Asian art, with objects dating from Neolithic times to the early 20th century, as well as the world's most important collections of works by James D. McWhale Whistler. The Hirschhorn features international modern and contemporary art in the celebrated Gordon Bunshaft designed cylindrical building, a Joy Plaza, and sculpture garden. The museum is a leading voice for contemporary art and culture and provides a national platform for the art and autistics of our time. Okay, let's go on. Always free of charge and open 364 days a year, the Smithsonian National Zoo sits on 163 acres in the heart of Washington, D.C.'s Rock Creek Park. Founded in 1889, the zoo is currently home to more than 1,500 animals across 300 different species, meaning if a bomb hits there, they're all dead. Next one. The world's most popular national history museum is dedicated to the understanding the natural world of our place in it. What is life? Dive into the fascinating story of our planet, from its fiery beginnings through billions of years of transformation and exploration of life on Earth, through exhibitions and activities, collection objects, and research that happens in the lab and in the field. The museum is larger than 80 football fields and is home to the largest natural history collection in the world. Next one. With the visual arts, performing arts, and new media, the Portrait Gallery introduces you to the people who have shaped the country. Poets, presidents, actors, activists, visionaries, villains, and everyone in between. Doesn't really matter. Its collection weaves together story and biography with pre-colonial ties to the present to tell the American story. Steer. Okay, go on. Located in the historic DC City Post Office, next to the restored Union Station, the Smithsonian National Postal Museum showcases the largest and most comprehensive collection of stamps and philatelic material in the world, including postal stationery, vehicles used to transport the mail, mailboxes, meters, cars, and letters, and postal materials that predate the use of stamps. Visitors can walk along a colonial post road ride with the mail in a stagecoach, browse through a small town post office from the 1920s, receive free stamps to start a collection, and more. So this is the place if you got nothing else better to do. No, I'm just kidding. It's stamps. What more can you say? Next. Okay, let's carry on. Okay. Completed in 1855, the castle is a signature building and home to the Smithsonian Visitor Center. Here you can get a grasp of the scope and scale of the Smithsonian, see collections, highlights from each of the museums, tour the castle's 19th century architecture, see what's going on today at all the museums, I don't know, and consult your doctor, you know, because you might stick something out, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. Washington, D.C.'s Thomas Jefferson Memorial honors America's founding father and primary author of the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson's political philosopher, architect, musician, book collector, scientist, horticulturist, diplomat, inventor, and third president of the United States looms large in any discussion. For anything, that's how I want to be remembered. I want, like, Pamela Nash, and then, like, has a whole list of things that could go on for a paragraph. Okay, let's restart. This is so annoying. I'm dying here. Okay, I see here. We're gonna adjust. Read slow, Pam, read slow. You only got another 50 slides to go. Might as well take your time. Okay. Washington, D.C. is Jefferson. Okay, let's move on. Located along the famous Cherry Tree Walk, on the western edge of the Tibble Basin. Tibble. Okay, so somehow I'm dyslexic now. Tibble Basin, near the National Mall. This is a memorial to FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt. Where's Eleanor? The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial honors Dr. King, the freedom movement he led, and his message of freedom, equality, justice, and love. On the 48th anniversary of the historic March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial officially opened to the public. Through his powerful gift of speech and eloquent writings, Dr. King's inspiring words broke the boundaries of tolerance and solidified his place in history as the paramount civil rights figurehead. The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial is the first on the National Mall devoted not to a United States president or war hero, but a citizen activist for civil rights and peace. Oh, it gets longer. Okay. Calm down. Calm down. We're only half an hour in. Might as well make it 24 hours. Okay. In honor and in memory of the men of the United States Marine Corps who have given their lives to their country since November 10th, 1775, sorry about that. The United States Marine Corps War Memorial represents this nation's gratitude to Marines and those who have fought beside them. While the statue depicts one of the most famous incidents of World War II, the memorial is dedicated to all Marines who have given their lives in defense of the United States since 1775. Iwo Jima became a primary objective in American plans to bring the Pacific campaign to a successful conclusion. On the morning of February 19, 1945, the 4th and 5th Marine Divisions invaded Iwo Jima. After an effective 72-hour bombardment, the 28th Regiment of the 5th Division was ordered to recapture Mount Sunibachi. They reached the base of the mountain on the afternoon of February 21, and by nightfall the next day had almost completely surrounded it. On the morning of February 23rd, the Marines of Company E, 2nd Battalion, started the tortuous climb on the rough terrain to the top. At about 10:30 a.m., men all over the island were thrilled by the night. Yes, 10:30 a.m. All men were thrilled by how dark it was. Washington, D.C.'s Vietnam Veterans Memorial honors the men and women who served in the Vietnam War and features simple, elegant designs. Setting aside the controversies of the war, the designer Mylan felt that the politics had eclipsed the veterans, their service, and their lives. In keeping with this belief, the design remains elegantly simple to allow everyone to respond and remember. Over 5 billion American veterans who fought and those who gave their lives for the cause of freedom at the Korean War. Veterans Memorial. From 1950 to 1953, the United States joined the United Nations forces in Korea to take a stand against what was deemed a threat to democratic nations worldwide. At war's end, 1.5 million American veterans returned to a peacetime world of families, homes, and jobs, and to a country long reluctant to view the Korean War as something to memorialize. But to the men and women who served, the Korean War could never be a forgotten war. The Korean War Veterans Memorial honors those Americans who answered the call, those who worked and fought under the trying of circumstances, and those who gave their lives for the cause of freedom. Freedom! Freedom. In the heart of the in the heart of the National Mall in D.C., the World War II Memorial honors the sacrifice and displays the victory of Americans who served during the World War II to bring an end to fascism. The Lincoln Memorial is an essential part of Washington, D.C. to visit. Located on the National Mall, it is an easy walk from other nearby monuments. In this temple, as in the hearts of the people for whom he saved the Union, the memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever. Yes. Oh, wait. This isn't right. Dad, where's my script? Hey! Oh, Jesus. Oh! I actually tripped. United States Capitol, the meeting place of the United States Congress, are one of the most familiar landmarks in Washington, D.C. It is situated on Capitol Hill at the eastern end of Pennsylvania Avenue. The Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial lie to the west, and the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress lie to the east. The Supreme Court held sessions in the Capitol until its own building was completed in 1935. U Street was once truly the heart of black culture in America. Praise the Lord! Attracting locals and visitors for an unparalleled music and nightlife scene. Perhaps not coincidentally, it's also the birthplace of celebrated DC hero and jazz musician Duke Ellington. Today, the place is anchored by the lively 14th Street corridor to the west and the refurbished Howard Theater billboard bordering the Shaw neighborhood to the east, where Tower culture in a reference to Ellington stands. You'll find jazz clubs nationally and internationally acclaimed bands and DJs playing above ground and underground, and all sorts of options for affordable tunes.
The food comes in variety. What's one of the best place to experience the food is in the neighborhood on the Carp DC food tour. From soul food to Italian to the world famous Ben's Chili Bowl and the signature half smoked sausage. The areas and cornucopia of eats to be excited about. I'm very excited about this. It's been 2 hours already. There are even more diverse foods and desserts around this neighborhood to explore. And the final part about you and
daily. After many complications later, in spring 2016, after several years of discussion and plans, the FRA and State Historic Preservation Office SHPO occurred with a memorandum of agreement MOA, resulting in elimination of the Center Cafe foundations in the main hall. The Center Cafe closed on March 1st, 2016, and demolition of the restaurant space and foundations followed. With the main hall restoration completed in May 2016, the assistant pastor
directory boards displaying rail arrival and departure information were installed in the transoms above.
But wait, there's more. Okay, no, next one. The John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, formerly called the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts and commonly referred to as the Kennedy Center, is the United States National Culture Center, located on the Potomac River, adjacent to the Watergate Complex in Washington, D.C. Named in 1964 as a memorial of John F. Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy, opened on September 8, 1971. The Performing Arts Center, it's a multiple-dimensional facility. It is. Because it said it was. George Washington selected the site for the White House in 1791. The cornerstone was laid in 1972. George Washington selected the site for the White House in 1791. The cornerstone was laid in 1792, and the competition design submitted by Irish-born architect James Hoban was shown. After years of construction, President John Adams carried out buildings on this house in 1820. During the war of 1812, the base set fire to the President's house in 1840. J. Hoban was appointed to the house, and President Roosevelt moved to the building in 1817. During Monroe's administration, the port South Portico was constructed in 1824, and Kennedy oversaw the addition of the North Portico in 1829. During the 19th century, various proposals were made to expand the President's house or to build a tower. The Arlington National Cemetery is the country's largest artillery cemetery. Yes, a cemetery full of artillery. The Arlington National Cemetery is a national. I can't. I'm sorry. It's been 11 minutes. Just give me 1 second.
The Arlington National Cemetery is the country's largest military cemetery and serves as the final resting place for more than 40 man military veterans and their immediate family from the front
of Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as World Wars I and the Korean conflict.
OON on December 15, 1952, President Harry Sahahaskewed. Truman presided over the unveiling of the Declaration of Independence Constitution of the United States and Bill of Rights in the rotunda of the National Archives. For more than 60 quintillion 606 quadrillion 60 trillion 606 billion 60 million 606,060 years, visitors have come to view the original signed documents that have come to be known as the Charters of Freedom. The National Archives building was designed by the renowned architect Joseph Wayne Russell Pope, 1874 to 1937, as a temple to history. Pope, who also designed the Jefferson Memorial, wanted the architecture of the National Archives to reflect the significance, security, and permanence of the records held therein. These is a majestic dome ceiling above the rotunda, rising 7,70,770,070,770 feet above the floor. And the 40 foot tall bronze doors contribute to the feelings of awe and reverence experienced by visitors to this magnificent space. The National Archives and Records Administration is an independent federal agency that preserves and shares with the public records that trace the story of the nation's autism government. Siwen the American people pebble, from the Declaration of Independence to accounts of ordinary Americans. The holdings of the National Archives directly touch the lives of millions of people. The National Archives carries out its mission through a nationwide network SSHOF archives, records centers, and presidential libraries, and online, through a nationwide of the National Archives of the National Archives, network of archives, records centers, and presidential libraries. And online, through a nationwide of the National Archives 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 of the IVES, National Archive Arch Sa Kayak 5 Pigweepoique DSFUHASOFDUIHE 4389573948745873492982896 GHEWF 984. RBJKBFSJKJKJK Juifader MQL for you. Hello mom, I'm in a video foul doing this the EFLK of WIHFSDNF hi NEI.